Okay, we're gonna go ahead and call the meeting to order. It is Tuesday, March 25th, 2025. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hey. Minutes and reports received and filed.
We do not have any.
Okay, Commissioner Committee liaison reports, upcoming meetings and events.
Another VTA lunch today. We do have another commission meeting this afternoon for the senior tax freeze. Looks like Friday, fish fry at Towson and this St. Martin's also.
And the cathedral.
And the
Gotta mention,
cathedral.
yeah, for Mark Ruther, he
Yeah.
cries.
He's not here to get me filled in here. And then there is an open house out at the St. Stanislaus, St. Margaret's Community Hall out in Wardsville Saturday, and I think I got 4 to 8 on my calendar, but I don't think that time is right. So, I think that's about it till next week.
In addition to that, Mid-Mo Regional Planning Commission meeting on Wednesday in Ashland, and Friday, a Heartland Port Authority meeting.
Yeah. I don't have a lot of meetings, but Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, I'm gonna be playing with the Department of Defense and the National Guard, so, even though I don't get paid for it. I'm furloughed. And then Sunday is the Westphalia Historical Society's annual meeting. So everybody go to Osage County. And that is all I have. Commission comments. Okay, we're gonna move along because we've got a presentation from staff consultants, invited guests, Jefferson City Cole County Cooperative Project update. Eric has to be out here quick, and then we've got Curtis with Architects Alliance, who has to be out here pretty quick, so.
So, we will give an update on the city-county cooperative projects. So first, everybody knows David Bangy, city engineer, and we have a new guest, Kyle Bremer. He's the new public works director for the city.
Where's your tie?
I dressed a little more informal for you today, Sam.
So, he,
Thanks for having me today.
he kind of showed me up last week at the Chamber Transportation Committee meeting, so I figured I'd dress up a little bit. But glad to have Kyle on board the city, and we felt like it'd be a good opportunity to come and talk to you. It's been a little bit since we've given an update on the projects. But we'll go through them. I'll start off on the few that the counties, of this sales tax cycle, that the counties led. And so the two that we've been doing are the CART Capital Area Rail Terminal and then the Wildwood Drive Extension. And then David and then Kyle, they could talk about the ones that they're leading, the efforts they're leading. So for the CART, the Capital Area Rail Terminal, really the project's done. It's closed out. We're in the warranty period with the contractor. It did take a little bit longer due to making sure the oil terminal part of it was set up. Rail cars came in a few weeks ago for the first time, and they're taking delivery. Everything's up and going like it should. I haven't heard any issues, so a very successful project. Good coordination between city and county funding, county leading the project, and then several grants, and then the private partnership with Capital, and then running the oil terminal, and then being the operator for the CART itself, and then also Jefferson City Regional Economic Partnership. So great success story there. A good group coming together to make a good project happen, and good opportunities going forward with that. And then the Wildwood Drive Extension, that's the big one right now. As we know, that project was bid and awarded, came in a little over budget, a little over estimate, but it's a good project, and we got a good contractor, local contractor doing that work. And they started clearing a few weeks ago, and I was just told today that they're moving equipment down to the Edgewood side, and they're gonna be clearing on that side. So residents traveling in that Edgewood corridor will see activity real soon. And so the clearing has to be done by the end of this week, into March to meet the requirements for clearing of bad habitat. Yeah.
We gotta get everything done.
We don't want them coming to roost on us, so we'll get all the tree clearing done this week. And I was also told that Ameren, there's some relocation work that has to be done up near where the roundabout's gonna be constructed. So they'll be in there starting that work in a few weeks. So everything's going like it should. That project is very big, a lot of work, a lot of different pieces and parts to it. The developer, John Farrer, he's working with the city to get his plan approved. I believe that's on the agenda next month for P&Z, and he'll start on his project as soon as he can. And he's relocating his project manager up here to run that for him. So, good cooperative project there. And yeah,
As the bills come in to be paid, walk me through that.
for the Wildwood. Okay, so pretty standard process. And so the way we work with the city and us, it depends on who's leading the project. So the city will pay us whatever the amount was in the agreement. It's $2 million. And so we'll have that money. And then when bills come in, we pay them every 2 weeks, or we process progress payments.
Do we have that 2 million?
Yeah, I was told that it was approved to send, so yes.
Yeah, I don't know if you've actually received it, but it's
Yeah.
been approved to send to you all.
Yeah, so it's approved and it's on the way, so,
Okay.
yeah. Just one more thing about Wildwood, we did have to, the city's working on the signal, there's some modifications to the signal down at Edgewood, that's being worked on, and then also, we had to wait a little bit to know what the development was gonna bring as far as electricity and lighting, light poles, power poles, to determine exactly what the lighting arrangement's gonna be through the corridor. And so, once we know exactly what that is, we'll be able to plan the lighting through there.
So that 2 million that comes from the city is probably gonna be expended within calendar year?
No, for sure,
25?
yeah. Well, the project it's over $6 million, the contract, and, you know, it depends on timing and all that. We won't be completely paid out by the end of the year, but the bulk of it will be, so.
So what approximately what's completion date on?
It's 330 days from the notice to proceed date. I think that equals maybe the second week of January, but with that work, the road has to be opened up before it gets too cold, because asphalt can't be laid when it gets too cold. So it'll appear like it's done by Thanksgiving or very early December.
Good.
There'll be cleanup work, but yeah. Any more questions about those two projects? Okay. I'll turn it over to David if you want to go through the others.
Yeah, so I think the next one kind of on the, that's furthest along certainly is Monroe Street. And so if you guys have poked your head out that direction, you can certainly see some of the work that's happened there. At the beginning of the project, we had closed off access to Monroe Street from the expressway to work on the driveways that are, one of them into the building where Bartlett West is, the other to the dentist office and other buildings on the other side. So that part of that project's been done, and so now we've shifted the traffic control so that if you wanted to get to any of those businesses that face the expressway, you'd actually come from the expressway side. And now we've closed the section basically from those driveways to Dunklin Street. And so that part of the project is underway. I think they have most of the asphalt and torn out there and are working on some of the grading and stormwater in that area. Later on next month, about halfway through the month, I think it's anticipated that we would jump across Dunklin and start working on the piece on the south side of Dunklin down to the alley, which is the extent of that project. Work on that, and then towards the end of April, we would actually then close the intersection of Dunklin. So basically the whole project will be closed. It'll be about 50 days, I think, is what Meyer Electric has told us it would take them to build that signal. And then certainly by that time, you know, the asphalt plant will be well up and running. We'll lay the asphalt on that street, and it should be open probably by late summertime. So that's kind of an update on that project. Happy to answer any questions about that if you have any. Okay. So then the High Street Viaduct, you know, is a project that we still is ongoing. We have Bartlett West working on the design of that project. The most recent activities with that project have been some geotechnical investigations, and then also some archaeological investigations to sort of feed into the 106 permits. So the geotechnical, I don't think turned up too much that wasn't anticipated. But one of the issues with kind of the geotech and then kind of as it blends into the railroad, I guess one of the railroad requirements regards retaining walls that were within 50 feet of the tracks, even though it's not on their right of way. And so there has to be some special provisions that have to go into that wall that's on the western end of that project to account for the railroad's requirements for retaining walls. So we don't know exactly what that is yet, but typically it's either if you're going to go with a MSE panel, it's going to have to be a thicker, heavier panel, or it's going to have to be a cast-in-place wall. So that's sort of something that we weren't really aware of when we started the project. But otherwise, on the grant front, the city had applied for a BIP, a Bridge Improvement Program grant, to help fund that project. We weren't selected for that, and then there was indication that we could have a kind of a debrief about what we could change or improve with that grant application for a second application. But we haven't heard back from the feds in that regard. They basically let us know that it was our turn to sort of request that debrief, but then the channels went quiet, so we're not entirely sure what happened there. So that's what's happening on High Street. We really expect the preliminary plans are essentially finished. The consultants had indicated they would like a little more time to address this wall issue with the railroad, and then would be sending us those drawings for review. And that's what I have on High Street, or on the viaduct.
David,
Yeah.
how close is that wall to the siding today?
It's probably within about 25 feet of the tracks at that point. So, and I don't know that it's a huge deal, except but for perhaps we would have been able to make use of some of that existing wall. And maybe that's still possible, but it kind of throws that up in the air at the moment. Then we'll jump down to Edgewood and Stadium and Creek Trail. So we have been working with, we sent an RFQ for consulting services for the design of the roundabouts there on West Edgewood, one at Stadium and one at Creek Trail. We selected ES&S to do that design. And we've been working with them to develop a scope and fee for that. We've had a couple of meetings, and I'm anticipating for them to get us that information here in the next couple of weeks, and then ultimately would be looking to enter into a contract with them for that design. In the meantime, we have also we worked an agreement and ultimately a purchase of property from the lot that's on the corner of Creek Trail Drive in West Edgewood. It was purchased by Dr. Glenn Tubner, and currently there's a dentist office that's being constructed on that site, but we were able to work with them in positioning their building and parking lot such that the corner that we would need for these roundabouts would still be available. And so I think it was last Friday, or the Friday before last, we actually purchased that corner of that property from them to sort of set us up for the potential roundabouts. So again, we hope that there'll be a construction contract or a design contract ready to go here in the next couple of weeks for that design. Ultimately, we don't have funding for the actual construction of those roundabouts. That would be something that we would be looking at potential future sales taxes to fund. And then the other project, or another project, the Madison Street project, not a lot to report there. Ultimately, we have been discussing the fact that we would like to get that designed yet this year. Basically, what we're imagining that to be is a reconstruction of the stormwater system as necessary, the rehab of all the sidewalk ramps to make them ADA accessible, and then some full depth replacement on areas of the pavement that are in disrepair, and then ultimately an overlay. So we're looking at that project, and from a cash flow standpoint, You know, depending on if anything happens on the viaduct or not, you know, we might have to push that project back just from a cash flow standpoint. But if nothing moves forward on the viaduct and that money just kind of remains there, then perhaps the Madison Street project could, in theory, be done next year. But we'll have to kind of see from a cash flow standpoint where that ranks. And then sort of the last project, which is actually a project from a previous sale, from the previous sales tax, is Chestnut Street. And so that project is nearing completion. We've got an email from the design consultant. Those plans, the final plan should be coming to us by the end of the month, which is less than a week from now. We're looking, you know, probably, you know, in the schedule, we've got about a month scheduled for kind of review and final adjustments on those plans. Contracting, and ultimately would hope to have construction ready to go sometime in July of this year. So that project is going to be a little tricky in its construction, just simply because of all the other activities that are going on. Obviously, the State Health Lab is in full swing, and then ultimately this coming Thursday, we're going to be opening bids on the River Market, and so there'll be a project basically on both sides of a road that we're trying to rebuild. So that'll be there'll be some issues with coordination there, but certainly we think we can get through them. But it'll probably cause a little angst as the project moves forward. So I think those are all the projects that we have on our joint projects category. So I'd be happy to answer any other questions.
On Chestnut,
Mhm.
is the state putting some money into this?
Right, the state had agreed to pay for half of that project. Now, exactly what they meant by half, I think we're still, that's still kind of in the lawyer's hands. But ultimately, yes, they had indicated that they would pay for half of that.
If the state pays for half, is it 1.5 or 2 that we've sent over there for that?
We put it roughly about 1.5, and then the city had a little over 1 maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
So we'll see. I mean, it's ultimately, the estimate for that project that they put together back in January was about $2.8 million. So we'll have to, you know, ultimately we'll have to see how that all comes out and sort out the money at that point.
This comment should probably not be addressed to the engineer or to the public works director, more to someone else at the city. But I think the county sent $1.5 million in May of '21 for this project. If we'd have held on to that money until today, when you say, we need the money now because expenses are coming in, our treasurer says we would have made $176,000 of earnings. So that money's just been sitting, as far as the county is concerned, idle. I don't know if it's been idle for the city or not. And then when you also bring into the discussion, not you, but coming into the discussion, is the state's gonna perhaps share in the cost. Does that wipe out the city's cost? Or are we still 50-50 or whatever the plan was initially? But if there's some new money coming, I think it has to be shared. But it's, again, not addressed to the engineer, to the public works director, but someone else at the city needs to answer some questions.
so I know Kyle and I have talked. We do have, I mean, we have, city and county has been talking about the next sales tax cycle. You know, it's one thing to work on getting that passed. You know, there's different avenues that we could go down there, but the other side of that is coming up with the city-county cooperative projects. And that's a pretty big deal. And, you know, there was a few mentioned, the High Street Viaduct, Edgewood Corridor, projects like that that would carry into the next sales tax. But then there's other projects too to be thinking about. So, you know, if there's some money remaining from the Chestnut Street, maybe that could be worked into another agreement or something.
And we are coordinated with the city in terms of our current public improvement sales tax expires 12/31/26, correct? And
Yeah.
yours it's the same date?
Ours actually
Is it
carries
3
over
months?
into, we start collection of the new sales tax were to pass in May
Okay.
of '27.
There's just a little difference between, okay.
So I know.
Speaking for the city, obviously being the new Public Works Director and getting my feet wet with all the projects that David mentioned, really look forward to working with the county jointly and making sure that we're working as efficiently as we can into the future, so.
We need to be partners. We need to be working together, and it really needs to be equitable, you know, as close to half and half as we can. So, I think that's what Western Commissioner Otto was kind of.
Subtly suggesting.
Yeah.
Or were you asking if we have another $175,000 in interest somewhere that we can use?
Right. Which, as I say, from the county's point,
Ah,
that's
don't
the
be right
idle,
with it.
it's idle money that was sitting there for a long time.
And that goes back to when we were gonna put the parkway through, that never terminated, so.
Right, it's, yeah, there's been a lot of, you know,
Yeah.
changes that have happened in that whole thought process in that whole area, so.
Okay, we want to do the signing of the quick claim.
Yeah, if you don't mind,
deeds.
that'd be great.
I've got Architects Alliance who has to be out here early too.
Yeah, I appreciate you moving that up just a little bit. So when we did the Business 50 West project a few years back, there was an intersection at, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Thanks.
The intersection, the intersection at Rainbow Drive, we realigned, straightened that up, and so there was excess right-of-way there, and the adjacent landowner had talked to us at the time because he was having to convey an easement and some right-of-way to do the project initially, and so the conversation at that point was, let's, you know, typically the way we handle excess right-of-way is after the project's done and complete. We know exactly everything, you know, where, you know, slope limits, everything, the whole project lays out. And so he approached us within the past year about seeing if he could get this excess right-of-way conveyed to him. And it's a normal thing that we do. We don't necessarily seek people out, but if they ask about it and it is excess to us and not needed by us, we will consider conveying that back. So if you look, I did provide it's a quick claim deed. I did provide that, there's a drawing, and so if you look, you can see the old road, it went straight into Business 50 on a pretty hard angle or skew, we call it. And in doing the new project, we wanted to straighten that up, bring that more in perpendicular. And so you can see the amount of excess area. This is primarily old road right-of-way that is no longer of use to us, and so we would agree that this would be a good thing for the county to do, and I would request that the county commission approve the quitclaim deed to the Woodlands subdivision, and it's owned by John Ruth Jr. Is there any questions?
No, this isn't anything new that we do, so I wouldn't.
What's the exact language here that we're looking for?
Is the,
I do.
signing of the quick claim deeds.
I'll make a motion that the commission sign the quick claim deed for excess right-of-way from the Business 50 West project.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
This is signed by every.
I have. Yours is more official.
Okay, thank you.
So we get you over to the Capitol Brightener, you know,
I appreciate that.
Well, I had a long day. I didn't even have any questions for you.
You know I'm not dressing like him on a daily basis.
Cal Bremer kind of set the stage last week. so-
yeah, he had a sport coat and shirt and tie on, he was really good. Okay, so we are gonna deviate from our agenda again and go to the proposed new Cole County Juvenile Center budget discussion, because Curtis from Architects Alliance is here, and you had to be somewhere too, so we'll we'll move that up to the next.
I put it on the agenda, I just wanted to talk about it. I didn't know if Curtis was gonna be here with any updates or not, but if you want to, I just think we got a lot to consider here with this.
Well, yeah, so basically, since we met last, decided on the $14 million path for the budget for the project, we have then since been reworking the plan to fit within that. We've been reducing square footage and trimming up the building, squaring up the front to get rid of the majority of the bump outs. Right now, we still have a conference room poking out, but we're trying to rework that into the plan. Nonetheless, we got that over to Brian McMillan at Bartlett and West. He reworked the site conditions last week and is saving us some considerable site costs, and I think that's where the majority of our savings is gonna come from, outside of the revisions to the plan. So Mitchell now has that data that Brian sent over, and so Napolz is analyzing that and putting together a cost estimate. We were hoping to have that done by today, but just didn't happen via the timeline, but nonetheless, we'll be following up shortly. Hopefully by next week, we'll have some numbers for you. So ultimately, that's still targeted towards meeting that $14 million for a construction cost. I know that you guys were wanting to know some other things that were for project cost. What is it gonna cost for the entirety of everything? Obviously, we already have our fees that have been under contract for some time. Then we've had, for all of the design team, engineering services, et cetera, that's all under one package, and I think that was at $160,000. Then there is Napolz agreement, which is pre-construction services of a lump sum of $34,000. So their services until we actually go out for construction will be that. And then once construction starts, Napolz, based on those agreements, will be $34,000 per month for general condition fees, and then an overhead total profit take of 2.2% of the construction fee. So that's Napolz's fee, which is still an ongoing fee. Ours is already under contract. Theirs is technically contract, but the construction is not yet. So their only portion to date concerned with is their services up till construction, which is the $34,000. Obviously, you still have to pay for the rest of it once construction happens, but then there were other discussions of additional things that are needed, which is FF&E, so furniture, fixtures, and equipment. As far as what is provided in the construction costs, all the kitchen equipment is included in that cost. All of the secure and detainee side of the facility, where all of that furniture is fixed and adhered to the ground or wall or whatever you have it, that's included in the construction costs. So what we're talking about, that's loose costs direct to the owner, separate from the construction cost, would be your office chairs, desks, computers, copiers, stuff like that. And so based on this size of facility with a historic precedent of what Trainer has just recently completed, for this square foot size project, they were estimating around $350,000 for all new furniture, computers, and stuff like that. That range could technically be 250 to 350. It just depends on what is the actual quantity and material type. So different brands, different makes and models will increase that cost. So I would say 250 is a starting point, and it can be up to 350,000 to, if you want to allocate a larger budget for it.
So what were the total on the design fees? You threw some numbers out there. and-
860,000 was
Okay.
the total package.
That's what I thought I had somewhere was total. That's over top of the 14 million.
Mhm.
And we have the site acquisition, another $402,250.69. I don't know if we got a bill. I think Public Works did some clearing on the site development. We got a bill from them for part of that. What else we gonna have as far as site development? Is that gonna be a part of the construction?
Yeah, all the site work and everything is included in that package.
Okay, because on one of the preliminary evaluations, it had 351,000, so that's gonna be in with the actual construction budget.
Yes. And all of the civil site survey, engineering, and geotechnical reporting is all part of our
The
fee.
geotech report is on the design fees too?
Yeah.
So.
I just want to, I mean, the longer we wait, the more expensive it gets every day with the tariffs and everything else.
Oh Well, no, it'll get, next wave will increase costs in April, so I'm just anticipating that.
We need to get this all worked out, we need to break ground.
Well, I think as far as plan-wise and getting to that 14 million, I think we're in line. So, as of right now, we don't see any red flags saying that we're not gonna meet that. Obviously, I'm waiting for Naples to get back to us and point us in a direction if we need to, but we have reduced a lot of site work. So we lowered the building 6 feet, which reduces a huge amount of fill, and earthwork moving that would have to happen. And the positioning of our site, we actually kept ourselves from going down into the valley to do the cut and fill exercise, so that we have to fill that valley to bring in the back parking lot side. Us removing half of that gymnasium, shifting the building and bringing it closer to the front drive, we eliminated a lot of excess fill that we don't have to have now, and also lowering that building pad. So there's a huge amount of earthwork, I mean, many thousands and thousands of dollars in savings. So we'll see what that comes out to.
We still had 8 cells.
Yes. Yeah, and this is with 8 cells to meet 14 million.
I still question if we need 8 cells. I think we could get it down to 4, and it would help substantially. So, the initial cost is just a part of it, because there's gonna be a whole lot of ongoing costs, which that's not under your control there at all, with your insurance, utilities, maintenance, and everything. So that 14 million is too high of a price tag, and it needs to be cut back some, but I don't know, Toby sent me some numbers for how many detainees you have and stuff. It just doesn't seem like it's there to justify 8 cells.
Jeff, I do want to clarify, and I did not respond to your email, and I apologize. Melissa had asked about following up, and I did not get back to you. When the 1.5 that you inquired about is when we have, for example, we've had 2 cells filled now since the middle of January. Early January with a pickup order on a 3rd. One youth was certified yesterday, and he would technically be with us then until he turns 18 or he goes to trial and is found innocent. All of this youth, there were 4 of them involved, and all of them could have been pending certification, which means we would have held all 4 of them until they were 18, if they had all been certified. So we have 2 of the 3 cells occupied for 2 straight months. We are only asking to build at the same size as the next smallest facility in the state. I stick with 8. I think 8 is necessary, and I think
I
that.
thought we had suggested going to 6 cells, and that was gonna save us like $650,000.
I think that there is discussion of going to
So we're back
6.
up to 8.
Yeah, so the 14 million still targets with 8 cells. So in essence, if you know, theoretically, if we can cut off, 2 or a grouping of those cells, yes, that's still a savings. And can you put it back? Yes. So there's square footage and there's a cost to that, and so we can show you what that is.
That's where the most cost is in the secure areas.
Yes.
So
Yeah, it's $600 something
that's
dollars.
why it's such a big target, and I know you have a bunch of them right now that could be there, should be there, whatever, but we've also got contracts to house them somewhere else if we have more prisoners or detainees than we do space. And for $7 million, we could do a whole lot, so if we could trim it back a lot, get it back down. I mean, we were originally at around $7 million to redo and add to the existing Pringer Center. So it's just, it's way out of whack with this price tag on there, just in my opinion, so. And then I was trying to figure out where we were at with construction costs, design fees, and the FF&E and everything else, and what the bottom line was gonna be to get this thing opened up. So, does that include all your stuff too, Brian? No. So, we need to get that in there too.
This is a very small piece of the pie here, but I'll be disappointed if every desk, chair, copy machine, fax machine, whatever that currently exists is scrapped and doesn't go over to the new place. I mean, I don't think we need 100% new desks, chairs, copy machines, office equipment. That would tell me that you've got nothing but junk there, and I don't believe that's the case. But it's a small piece of what we're talking about, and maybe that's that 250 to 350 number. that
Yeah,
you're-
and obviously, if you keep some of that furniture, that number starts dramatically dropping. So that's more so of an inventory task to go through and identify what you guys think has gone past its useful life and what you think you can live with moving forward.
And that'll be near the end, so that's something we can look at, but yeah, I had thought, we had talked about going down to 6 cells, which is still double what we've got now at the Pringer Center, but.
Yeah, well, at the meeting, we did talk about that, and I think when we walked away, or at least my interpretation is that we were still gonna target 14 because it could still meet the full
I
program.
mean, the last meeting,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's when you and Harry said, yep, 14 million is where we're going, which included the 8, because Toby was not wanting to come down off her. She's got her job to do, we got our job to do, so we can, I'm not gonna challenge her to an arm wrestle, she'll probably beat me, but.
But again, we can
You guys
allocate
figure-
when we come back next week or whenever Napolz is ready to
Yeah.
present that, we can give you what the cost is for the cell. So
Okay.
if we
That
remove the
plate-
cell, what's
yeah,
that cost?
plate,
And then,
yeah.
yeah. So right now, our target was keeping full program to meet 14,
Okay.
and so we'll give you the option to.
Okay,
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
okay,
Thank you.
run to your next meeting.
Thank you, Curtis.
Okay, we will go back to our.
I didn't know this whole meeting, everybody said they had another meeting after this at 10 o'clock, right?
Let's go. Resolution, the Blue Shield Community Resolution. Our esteemed Sheriff Wheeler.
So, Governor Kehoe announced the launch of the Blue Shield program for communities that's to recognize communities dedicated to effective law enforcement and community safety. Once we get this designation, there should be up to $10 million we could apply for in grants. There's 10 different criteria that you have to be qualified for this. And we already are compliant with everything except for the one, and that's this resolution that you have before you today. So, once you complete that, hopefully by the end of the week, I'd be able to submit to the state so that we would be designated a Blue Shield community.
Did you send that to Melody too?
Jill had it, I don't know, she did not bring it. I can get a copy of it.
I don't
Yeah.
have it, so.
That figures, okay.
Are we gonna do a real pretty one in the frame and everything? for
I
it?
had no idea, I just was wanting it printed, so. They're printing it.
Okay. So do we wanna make a motion to endorse and sign the Blue Shield Community Resolution?
I want to see the fool who wants to vote against this.
I'm already picking on the Pringer Center, so the youth center. Might be in trouble there.
Let's give them language.
Okay, yeah.
You got any accounts payable today?
No.
Ah,
Listen.
the clerk just been kinda, gave it to the sheriff to come on and prepare out that bad when he was in school. He always forgot his papers too.
While we're stalled for a minute, we don't really have an old business, but we can bring up old business, right?
Yes.
Hey, Bill, could we talk about the AEDs that have come in?
Sure.
And for the audience, that's the, tell them what AED stands for.
I'll make,
I'm sorry, Bill,
What?
that is under the bids and
Yeah,
contract
it's
portion,
Oh,
Harry.
I'm sorry. It's already here.
Yeah.
okay.
Well, we can jump down there anyway, right?
Yeah, we've jumped around.
I think I emailed it all
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I got another one, I got pictures of this one, yes,
Do you have it, Sheriff?
I have it.
Back
Sorry.
to
Regularly scheduled.
Blue Shield Community Resolution.
I'll make a motion that the commission sign a resolution to demonstrate Cole County's commitment to public safety and crime reduction, which we will call the Blue Shield Community Resolution.
Second.
All in favor?
Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Farr?
Okay, thank you. So in looking back, I've found minutes from February of 2024, when the Cole County Public Safety meeting, I think, decided that there was a need to update all the AEDs in the county buildings. Many years ago, I think we purchased 5, and they were a Phillips brand, which we found that EMS and most of the fire used those, so the context was to update all the county buildings of what EMS uses and the local fire service. So in that, I think the commission approved the purchase of the AEDs some time ago. So when we got those in, we re-met a few weeks ago, and we looked at what we have now and what we need to fulfill that. So I think at the time, there was 14 AEDs that we purchased with the approval of the commission. What they didn't do was look at the cabinets to put them in, like the one in the hallway, you see the cabinet. So in looking at all that and what each department needs, I can give you a list of a rundown, what we had and what we need. So we still need to buy 3 additional AEDs and 10 cabinets at a total cost of $7,727.40. Included with that would be a sign above that announcing that you can see at a distance where the AED is located. So I think this would complete the project. So we decided to, the committee decided to bring that forward to commission to approve the purchase of the remaining few to complete all the project that was originally submitted.
In the original project, well, weren't there some cabinets purchased then?
No?
No, there was 6 cabinets approved when we approved,
Okay.
Was
but we never ordered them. They were never ordered whenever Nick was here. So Bill came in to reassess the situation. So now we're needing to get approval for 4 more cabinets, 10 total, and then actually ordering them.
Right. Yeah, my first day here, the AED showed up, so they're still sitting on a pallet, 14. Well, we put 3 in the health department, we replaced their old units. So that helped out some too, but as you see, listed present locations, and that's the desire of each department that's represented here. What we had in the building before, like the courthouse, we had 1 down in the kiosk, and the annex, we had 1 on the wall.
You can't close that door, can't close it, it's open meeting.
In Public Works. So that's kind of where we're at to complete the project. I think this would complete it with these additional costs. And that should be the red sheet.
So the Brenner Center did not have any AED?
They had an AED, but there was not a cabinet.
Okay.
Yeah,
It was on a cart.
it's just on a cart where they could move it around when they needed to.
So what did we approve before? I'm totally confused, I guess.
There, 14.
We approved 14 AEDs
AED.
before and 6 cabinets before.
14,
14, yep.
Yep, that's what it
14 AED, actual AEDs were approved before.
was. Right,
And
Then
6,
how many cabinets?
6 cabinets
6 cabinets,
and no wall signs.
right.
0 signs.
I kind of add those wall signs so you can look down the hallway and see that sign sticking out. So if someone's in a hurry, which they will be, that kind of designate where it's at and where it's located. It's not that expensive an item, actually.
I thought we had an extended amount of discussion about these before, so.
Was there someone who said we don't need AEDs in our place, but when they came in, they said, oh, we'll take 3?
No, I know of, wasn't it?
Yes, the health department did not
They did.
ask for new.
Well, you know-
When we did that discussion.
Only thing I found was a bunch of handwritten notes. And I did find where this here health department had 3 listed.
They had 3 on site.
Bill.
Huh?
This was,
It was way before me.
Yes.
Oh, yes, this wasn't Bill that came in and made the first presentation.
Right.
No,
yes.
That's,
that was Nick and the committee. So I didn't know about the cabinet, sorry. So I think before we spent 24,000 on 14 AEDs. This is the receipt that I have. Is that right? Yes, I think.
What is the life span of an AED?
Yeah,
I
this
know
is right.
everything, as soon as we get it, starts,
I know the Phillips, the big deal was the batteries. We get about 1.5 years out of the battery, but they was $100 a pack there. So I think that's the original.
Yeah,
invoice
we
there.
did the 14 AED machines back in November.
Yeah.
And that's all that was ordered. There was no cabinets ever ordered or anything like that. So bills came back in and,
Yeah, I think it's important to have the cabinets.
But we need them, and then we need to train everybody so we know how to.
And that's another part of this here with the health department. They're doing CPR and AED training,
Yeah.
setting that up for the
You
departments
know,
that
I might
work.
know where it is, but if I don't know how to use it,
I don't know, as far as longevity, Eric, you might be able to.
Yeah, so usually span of life's about 10 years from a product standpoint. Batteries are more frequent, I'd say probably every couple of years. The new machines are using commercial batteries, so if you open up the battery pack is, just 20 A batteries, all in a line. So the batteries are cheaper to maintain because they are not like special lithium batteries built proprietary for the machine. So they're cheaper to maintain in that aspect.
That's kind of where we're at. I mean, I kind of had to look, and Tracy helped me a lot, looking through old minutes and scribble notes, see what all was here.
we think the 3 additional, was from the health department that we're ordering now. Because from what we've gathered, they weren't on Nick's original list. So that's where the additional 3 is coming from, but they've already got 3 of the new ones.
they're obsolete. What the 3 they have.
Their other ones were just old, so.
How old?
I don't know.
Because they offered them to us. Instead of us getting 3 new ones, they offered that their old machines come
the
to the
annex building.
annex to be used instead of us getting new machines.
that's just for the commissioners.
I had
No,
They didn't care if they were dead.
no.
I had no clue.
I don't know exactly what happened here, and this was, like I said before, Bill. We need cabinets for them.
Yes.
I don't remember the conversation for not having cabinets.
Yeah.
I thought
Well,
we
we-
talked about it and extended out the time.
We approved 6, and why they weren't ordered, we
Because
can't
Nick
answer
left,
that.
right, just within a couple weeks is when he
Yeah.
resigned.
Yeah,
and
because
left.
literally the day he left is when these all came in, the AEDs arrived.
I have no problem in buying what we need. I do have a problem if somebody passed on getting new ones, said we don't need them, and then when the new ones came in, they said, well, take 3. And if that's what happened, that should not have happened. They could have said at that point, we need 3 now, not we're gonna take 3 that somebody else ordered.
And then what do we do with the 3 that they replaced that are
Well,
supposedly
Are they
still good?
outdated? What does that mean, that they're not usable?
What we were
Or they're
told
not?
in the meeting that happened last week was that they had been serviced regularly, every 30 days, they were still working. My understanding is that the only real difference between the new and what they had is that the logo font is a little bit different. I don't know the age of the 3 they took out, but they were offered to the annex. Since you all still need 3, y'all can have ours.
All right. How long is
I
it?
think they would
Which is
put
a little
in,
ridiculous.
if I recall, I think they put AED off the building remodel for the health.
Yes, we're going back into open session, and I think we'll forego everything we did this morning. So we will go right into
I thought the whole
the
reason we bought the.
senior tax freeze discussion application.
That's exactly right.
And we wanted to make sure that everyone's
The Zoll
trained
Pro.
on the same.
Right,
Yeah.
the old built for, they'd have to change the ad now.
You have it ordered, you wanted.
So.
No, I
I'm a
don't
little
have an
hesitant.
agenda.
Anybody else have a preference?
No, I think you ought to probably.
Way off in the periphery.
So we get it out of the way.
Yep, sit
So I
down.
don't see
So
there
I
was
think-
a question as to
I think there are a couple different aspects of this conversation.
amend our-
As an agency, we utilize Zoll
the
products,
application,
which means
section 3,
patches that actually make the machine work are manufactured by Zoll. Proprietary connector on them.
to the truth
So
of-
what that allows us to do is when we get there, we can hook up if the AED's already been placed and we don't have to change out pads. The only issue,
I
if it's
think we're
different
all in
manufacturer,
agreement
is the
with
fact
that.
that you have to take the pads off, put new ones on. Not that big of a deal. So I don't know what the health department has, I don't know what
Subsection
they
C.
have changed out or what the service life is. The amount that I've been involved in this conversation was I sent an email maybe a month ago now, just giving pause and asking why any of our buildings would need 3+ AEDs. Even in the largest building, which is the courthouse, I believe 2 AEDs would be more than sufficient for that entire space. While I understand that the need to, or the request to have one on every level or in every aspect of every building, the truth of the matter is, we would get much more bang for our buck ensuring that those devices were available on the property, all county properties, as opposed to having 3 or
Well,
4.
there's actually
in one
a
location.
place for 2
So
signatures
that was
on
my
that, so
only
if
contribution
we
to
could
this.
easily change
There
it.
have also been various
Instead of
conversations
having
about
signature
CPR
to
and
witness
AED training.
signature
EMS has been on the periphery of those, so I don't know
I
what
don't think we need it personally.
that conversation is or how we've been asked to engage, because we haven't been asked to engage up until this point. So that's kind of where I sit with this
Stand up
project.
and fight for it either way, and I did ask.
I support the AEDs. I think we can make a plan to make all of those AEDs disappear and be in strategic locations.
Marriage license applications
I
like
just-
30 years ago. They just, it's not.
I don't know
required
why,
Any further
especially even
statutory
the health
because it
department,
didn't
why you would
matter.
need 3 in one building.
They're
Does that mean
signing.
you're not really
So,
married?
that's my
To sign?
Well, you
You're
have to
married.
sign it, witnesses don't have to.
Oh.
Oh, we still have
Nice
to
try,
sign?
though.
You're
Well,
married
you're not
to each
gonna
What I
other.
take from that is.
Absolutely.
I wasn't gonna go there.
Now it's time to push it open.
We do have EMS very close to our building.
Yeah.
So response time would be fast.
Okay, so I don't, Christie sent the original list, and it does have courthouse 2, public works 2, Bringer 3, health department 3 on there, so somewhere.
And on the
that is-
second signature, if someone is signing as the
Different.
attorney in fact, do you think it needs to have that under there, like by attorney in
We need
fact?
to revisit
We
where
have
we
to when
put
we
these
do
in.
deeds,
I
so I
think that's
didn't
how
know
it's
if
at.
you.
Did you
thought
guys
these should
discuss
be-
that in the meeting?
That's what I was thinking, it needed to say like personal representative signing for
very
applicant.
well.
We discussed it, but
Not the exact location. Like especially
not
if
the
it's like
exact
with the
location of the
online.
building.
I don't care what we call it, just
numbers.
tell me what you want me to put there, instead of having.
So do we have 14 orders?
We have
14 are here
14 are here.
on a pallet
11.
at the ESB.
I don't even
Why do you
know
need
what,
17
how many
AEDs?
options there are for that particular
you
thing.
need
I would
10
just have it some simple,
Because we
like
already had cabinets someplace.
Cabinets do work for
personal
the-
representative
same thought.
for the applicant or something like
By
that.
personal
Locations that don't have
representative
cabinets right
or
now.
by attorney in fact, those are the ways we have it.
Yeah,
So
and maybe
do
you
that on the
could,
document there that we-
The 14 are here, perhaps we need.
Would you send me that wording?
Yeah, I mean, we have it different ways, so it's really whatever your preference is on that. It says by power of attorney, by personal representative, by attorney in fact.
I don't think
We will let EMS
You have all three on there?
decide where.
It-
Or you
different-
just take three?
different
Well, I don't
attorneys
want to, I don't
send in
necessarily want to take
different-
over this project.
So
I
it's
think
probably
we
what
would
you
be more than happy to get involved.
I don't
think
have a preference, you just send me.
To answer the
one that
question,
you think.
no, we do not need to order
Okay.
more AEDs. Whether we have,
That's what I'll put
we
on.
have 14 brand new
Probably
ones
needs
sitting
to
on a
say
pallet, and if
I
there's 3
am,
more that are serviceable, that gives
I
us
am
17 to
attaching
decide where to go.
I am
I think the
attaching
conversation that needs to be had
documentation
is,
to prove
where are we putting them and
that,
how many
or
cabinets do we
I don't know how
need?
to
I
describe it,
believe
like,
that
I am
you have
going
determined
to
that
attach
you need 4 additional
documentation to prove
cabinets.
that I
We
have
need to order all 10.
or
No
whatever.
cabinets have been ordered.
No,
6
no.
were
I'd have
approved
to-
and
I
I
don't
don't
know
know
how
how
to
to
say
say
that.
that, but never ordered.
Attached document.
Yeah,
Three.
so, yeah.
Or part of the 10 that we're saying we need to go with these 3 that we're looking at ordering again. So could it take it down to 7 cabinets? Could you just keep a similar
We need 10
signature
cabinets
or
even if we stay with the 14.
Regardless,
10 cabinets and the AED sign.
So I would feel comfortable if the committee is requesting to order the 10 cabinets, and then it's just a conversation of where does maintenance.
Send you a couple different.
That's what I've heard.
Okay.
We do not do construction.
No.
We'll pin them up on the wall and throw darts and
See which
choose which one it hits.
Yeah.
We need to know where they are.
Sam, can you come down and hold that for us?
Didn't we use one, Larry, someone several years ago, paying their taxes went down, they come up and got the AED? Yeah, down Remember.
I'll make a motion.
It's coming back to haunt you.
They did have a situation over.
And some-
And Walton.
And Wall
Someone
Scientific
standing at
Meeting.
your window,
Yeah.
signing a check, and he just dropped.
Yeah.
That was
My motion is
scary.
10 cabinets, 10 Wall Scientific.
Taxes were too high.
That was actually a
14 signs.
closing
14 total.
insurance company.
That doesn't include the 3 new 14 signs.
Let's
They paid their
Well, we've
taxes.
got,
I'll make a motion to order 10
And it was
cabinets.
so loud, it
Yeah.
really
Well, hell,
sent
it
chills
hit-
down my
it
spine.
hit his head
Yeah.
on that
all in
marble
favor?
floor, tile floor.
I'd like to discuss it.
I appreciate you.
Yes, we do.
Being in
So let
charge.
me,
Maybe just-
so last week I talked to Larry, I
Thank you.
said,
Also,
I can
Chief
volunteer
Gibson.
my 3 days to
You'll send
review
Chief Gibson.
applications as well. I don't know how many,
I had no idea
That was down
do
there.
we know
We'll go
once
back
they
to
approve
bids
or
and contracts.
disapprove the application? Are they signing that part down below?
This is just a claim
Well-
release with the city of Jefferson from
Or is
one,
that too
on one of their city
premature?
buses. Hit
It's
one
a
of
little,
their
still a
EMS
little
vehicles.
premature.
We sent it to Extreme
That
and
may
then
come
the
up
city.
in the discussion today.
Yeah,
So
we're-
kind of the procedure.
Yeah, all I'm saying is, I would like to help with this. It may not be a whole lot, but even if each of my 3 deputies could review 5 apps a day,
From my
that's
understanding,
15
we
a
sent the
day,
bill to the city
75
and
a
then
week,
Extreme.
300 a month. So we can help a little bit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, I don't know if we can,
To approve and sign.
from a safety
Claim
standpoint,
release.
have people from the public come down to our limited public
All
window.
in favor?
I think I have someplace that it's going to be brought to.
We did decide.
Exactly, we decided that yet.
We claimed the already.
And Larry, you were talking about maybe using the commission chambers
Discussion and approval
for
of minor
Yes.
electric quote for video
To get the
surveillance
applications
system update.
process filled out, help with that. Then, I think then we could divvy it up, the applications to
Approval
review
of
them.
text my gov contract.
And I can come up and get a stack, or one of my deputies can, and give them a stack, right?
Well, yeah, we'll need to figure a way to
Okay, I'm
to divide them and
just
also
thinking out of the box.
to record them first, so we know if you've got
Correct.
50 applications, who those 50 are.
various
So if
functions,
somebody
as
calls
well as
a link to our website. Question or something. And hopefully, it's gonna be, some of the collector's office is gonna pay for this out of the tax maintenance fund. Melissa are gonna talk about will help in that. in reality, no cost to the county for this service.
Anything else on the application?
It's 24-hour day service. I don't think there were any other. Has all kinds of uses. We can use it even for sending out tax bills. Some things, delinquent information, senior tax credit, I think that's okay.
Yeah, Harry talked to us, we paid.
I've talked to
The
several
only
other
issue that I
collectors
was
that have
saying about that
been
where it
using this
says,
program.
I
They
can have
think it's
people
working
coming in
very
for
well in their
deeds,
counties.
and Statutorily, we
Just asking
can't
for
do
your
a
all's
title
approval of
search.
the
And
agreement.
The
It's
way
basically
we
a
find
3-year
the
agreement.
latest deed, if it's correct, we
About-
look the address up
I
on
think
the
it was
assessor's
approximately about a $10,000
website. We use
cost
their
the first
software.
year,
Then we
and
look at ours. It gives us
$7,500
a
the
time
next 2
period, because sometimes they're not updated yet, or sometimes they'll have it inverted, so we still have to check our system, but it gives us a time frame.
I'm just
So we
curious
help,
if,
it's just a
I
little gray
glanced
area
over
for
at
us.
the
Yes,
IT
we have the
director, if
deeds, but
there's
we don't
any-
do title search, we're not allowed to by statute. So when it
bad
says,
stuff that come
you know,
out of this text.
as
email
recorded, it's really as recorded in the assessor's file. He tells you who owns it.
Taking his
And then they
hand.
come over to us and print it. But we caved. So you want to leave it, that's fine.
You might have to arm wrestler on that also, Jeff. Yes, I do.
I have one
We
more
caved on scanning.
comment about it.
Yep.
So we decided to call it senior tax free, so
They'll set up a whole,
is that gonna be confusing to have the form
automatic
not say
answering to
senior,
text and
the
automatic
application not say
notifications
senior
going
tax
out.
freeze, and everything else does?
All
No,
kinds
I-
of.
I'm- you're right, I can change that.
Unique services.
I'm just lazy.
Yeah.
The watch ordinance is December 30th, Bull County Senior Real Estate Property.
We could set it up to do that, yeah.
Should we put on there somewhere that if they download the form, that they can put it in our Dropbox?
I'm good.
I don't know.
I just need Sam's.
Wonder about that, I think that would be.
That'd be great, because I need to
think that
take
needs to
it
go on the
and
web-
have
our
Mark sign
webpage.
it also.
It's one of the
Or
highlights on our
have
web.
Dawn get Mark to sign it if she wants the
Does
original.
anybody use a Dropbox
Before she
when they
gives me
pay
a
their
copy.
taxes?
Oh, all the time.
Do they do? I'm glad.
I use it.
I've used it.
I think a lot of
You
people
did,
are
sir.
gonna wanna come in,
Drop it
they're
off.
gonna,
Yeah.
they're gonna,
There's a line
they're
down there.
gonna
Forgot
fill
to
it out
mention that I
right
did
here in
forward
front
the
of
contract to
somebody.
Jill. She looked it over
You
and
will get,
had, the company add the
Yeah, I'd say we get several thousand.
certification of auditor on to it.
I didn't like those
This
laptops.
application should
They
be
wanna
easy
come, they wanna come,
Why would they want to come to sit in front of my motion
They want you to
contract
to
for the
write.
collector's office? I
Second.
mean, that's why we made it as
All
simple
in
as we
favor?
could. So I
I don't know, we get asked that every day, but we can't
You'll,
help it. Right
if you'll
here.
sign yours,
Yeah.
Sam, and I'll take it with me and get Mark's signature.
President's in a hurry.
All right, so we're gonna change the name at the top.
Cole County Senior Real Estate Property Tax Raise, or just
Well,
Cole County Senior Tax Freeze.
Real estates, there's personal property.
What's it gonna be? Okay.
Cole County Senior Real Estate Property Tax Freeze Program, instead of tax relief.
What do you need, Nikki?
Okay, discussion of the Safe Kids trailer storage and emergency management.
Yeah, let me get this one. Again, I got pictures of Jeff.
I read your emails.
Yeah, no, I.
Yeah, I don't need
I saw that,
So
Thank you. So, can we stay with
the
that?
history of this was, several years ago, the county fire associate, or the Cole County Chiefs Association, there was a Safe Kids trailer that was
Originally, it
purchased
said it
many
had to be
years
by
ago
June
to,
30th, but since
DOT, MoDOT.
2026
Would-
is the first
Had been
year
sitting outside for years and.
credit could be had,
Pretty well,
it
the
could be
front
June
roof
30th,
was leaking,
2026.
windows was leaking. So they did a big campaign and raised enough money in the community to buy and build a brand new unit, and the picture that you see attached. So through the years, with the kindness of Great American Water, the big water tower out by.
Yeah, they need to They need to understand that the
Off
freeze is
179,
for
that's
what you
been
pay in
parked inside.
2025.
With their
First credit,
expansion, they
you can
need
get
that
those in
moved.
2026.
So Jeff City Fire Department has been housing it there and just needed a place to put it inside, which I was rather. It's a very nice system, as you see. It teaches all the children
But that would be-
in certain
that would be
grades in,
calculated on the
Jeff
final
City,
payment.
Cole County, the rural school.
Because the final
Some
bill
of the
is always
schools
the
uses it.
remainder left.
So what the
Tax bills
departments in the Chiefs Association, they pay
They
a
don't get
fee
paid till
every year
November, so-
per their radio calls, and that provides the insurance coverage for any maintenance that
And of
might
course,
be
once they
needed,
get it
tires
the
or
first year,
whatever.
that's, credit would be.
So
how
what the request is to move this,
calculated, or how the tax bills
thankful with
calculated
Eric,
the next year
find the
for quarterly
location, the
payments.
very back
Credit
of
would be
the
included in that. So they're always gonna be
ESB
a
building,
month.
where it can be housed.
Well, they're always gonna get the credit in
and
the correct year.
The fire departments,
They're not gonna get it
that's
ahead of
usually in
time.
October, is National Fire Prevention Week. This has been going on for many, many years, so Fire Prevention Week is observed the week of October 9th, and that's in commemoration of the Great Chicago Fire, which began in
So you'll probably need like at least 30
1871.
days before
It
the
caused,
actual deadline.
250
would
people
be
died, left 100,000 people homeless,
June
and about
30th.
Be able to process
18,000
whoever
structures were
returns.
burned. So that's
You
what,
could
that's,
take them up
if
until
most of
June
you all
30th
remember in
and
school, you learned to
still
stop,
have
drop,
time
and
to
roll.
process them.
This
Oh,
has
yeah.
really
Oh.
aggressed farther
Tax-
than that.
I mean, we-
They can go
we
in
don't
there, it's all
generate tax
virtual, they can
bills
actually
until
see a stove on fire from a grease fire. There's smoke
But we start
machines,
the-
in there to teach
that
the
whole
kids how to
process,
get
and
down
really
low,
the
crawl
reason
out,
for it
as you
to-
see some of
I
the
think it's
pictures
June 30th is
on
that's
where they're
because
coming out of a back
assessors
window on a ladder, how
turns
to
over
escape
his
a house.
books.
So it's very, very vital. I just knew that whenever
Yes.
the request came in, you know, the issue with parking something that's not owned by the county in a county building was an issue in the past, and that's why I wanted to
As
get
soon as
the
we get it
commission
ready to go,
approval
sometime next
do
month,
this.
hopefully.
Again, it's fully insured, the.
I think the
Chiefs
more time we have,
Association.
the better.
Sheriff
especially
Wheeler,
this first
president of, there you go, take it out of his budget.
I was looking at Steve's
We actually
estimate
had
of
the
how
ambulance
many
parked over there.
Yeah.
62
But ever
and
since
older we
Eric
have.
took control of the AED
And
program,
then
he's got a big
his
head
was
down, he threw me out of the building, so.
16,737 from the voter record.
Anyway, I just wanted to make sure the approval
So I went
with
on
the commission.
census.gov.
And that's a whole, I
looked
knew
at
you
their
was okay
census
with it, just
stats.
wanted to kind
They
of
only
bring in a
do
little bit of history.
65 and older, but that number is 14,516-ish.
I think it's a good
So
idea to have.
that's the
I do too.
estimate
I do
of
too.
how many 65 and older, so.
Make the motion
Then
then
you have some
to
who aren't property owners,
Approve.
they're living in the park.
the safe kids.
Yeah.
trailer.
Or you have,
Yeah,
or you have
yeah.
husband and
They're in a
wife.
retirement
so-
home, so it's still gonna be a
Thank you very
Yeah.
much.
Chiefs
Association.
Percent of population is 77,000.
I'll get you one.
18.7%, so, we have 33,664 housing units.
Assessors
owner-occupied,
MOU with the
67.4%,
Missouri State Tax
so
Commission.
33,000 change times 67%,
Let's move it till next week.
22,689, and I used 20% of 65 and older, which was 18.7, so I just rounded up to
And
19,
do
which
we have
brings us
anything
to
else to come
62.
before us?
Brings us to 45, 37
Okay.
of the people
I would
who
give you
are
a
62 and older,
closed session.
owner occupied. Meaning that you have two of
Pursuant
them
to
in the
section
same house,
610.021 of the revised statutes
and
of
what
Missouri, the
percentage of
commission will go
them
into closed
actually
session
apply.
to discuss
And I don't remember what it was in Boone County.
existing or proposed
I
security
don't
systems under
either. I think they
section
had about
610.021.
5,000?
Subsection 20.
It
Maybe it was
should be
8,000.
well underneath
Section
what Boone County.
610.021 subsection
So if
3.
we, I don't, that's just the numbers, I did kind of like you, Melissa, and just
Roll call,
through
please.
it was swag, but I actually used numbers off of the last
Harry.
census.
Yeah.
Jeff.
I would imagine most people are gonna apply for it, like,
You can discuss something.
Doesn't want their-
there.
Just wanted to give you an update on the heating and cooling for your building.
I don't know. if that's-
Okay, bye.
Air conditioner's not working. so
Yeah, all the new units have been installed in all the offices. They tested all the piping yesterday, almost 400 foot of new pipe fixtures, 90s, one pinhole.
Well, and
So,
I think when we talk about people that say it's not that much,
which is a good thing.
if they don't apply
They're hoping-
when they turn 62, or after the first of the year that they turn 62. For instance, this 2025 being the base year, you know, if I waited till 2028 to apply, then 2028 is gonna be my base year, not 2025. So they're, even if they, I mean, they're gonna miss out on, even though it's gonna be small the first few times around, it will eventually add up to something.
It may not be if the state tax commission gets their way. and
Well,
some
that's
categories
true.
are about
That's
up
true.
50%.
You're right.
And
I had a
let's not
call.
even get into that one, I'm sorry.
Yesterday, man was 92 years old,
Good point,
so
though.
he wanted to know
Yep.
when he could apply. So I explained all this, I said, you're really not gonna notice a big difference, at least for the first 5 years. I said, but 10 years from now, that's when you will really see the difference. He said, I'm 92. I said, yeah, so I said, you'll notice it in 10 years. There's a lot of, well,
So the base
Dr.
year is
Meyer
their
just
time
passed
of
away,
application.
101.
Base year.
so, but he seemed like pretty sharp guy, so.
All right, so application done?
I believe so.
So let me ask, just to be clear, so what you're saying, and I'm asking from a senior taxpayer perspective, so year over year, it's not that significant of a savings, but cumulative it is. However, based on what Jeff just said and what Harry talked about last
Same.
week,
Oh,
that may be marginalized if everybody's rates are gonna go up, correct?
Could be. You could shoot ours up, and then by the time I'm 62, it's already way up there, and maybe there's a decline, and, you know, they're not gonna.
Yeah, but even at that, if I qualified for this, am I not protected from that?
As long as you apply every year.
Yeah, that's what I'm,
If you skip it 1 year, then your base year starts over.
It depends
Correct.
on when Cole County meets that standard that the state tax commission has set. If that's done yet this year, then
Yeah,
everybody's
that
gonna be
was
at that higher
back of my
rate.
mind.
But, and there's competing legislation in the House right now. I think there's also some legislation that's limits increases in assessed value by no more than 2% a year. So I don't know how those two are actually competing legislation.
It's, I don't know. I'm trying to get down
It's a
in that
mess,
rabbit hole
yeah.
Because Jackson County has got a mess right now, and that's what they did, is they went and tried to comply with state tax commission, so. All right, so application is done. Feel like we got something done today.
Okay.
Okay.
I would like both Brian and Melissa to talk to you all about some software possibilities that I think would be very helpful and needed for this program. One of them is DocuSign. I'll let them explain that. The other one is Therefore.
Do you want me to go first?
Sure.
All right, at last week's commission meeting, it was kind of, or at the, I don't know if it was commission meeting or, I think it was brought up about using DocuSign to securely sign documents and kind of wondering about that. So I actually contacted them, and, because I went on their website, and they actually have an option where we can create a fillable online form on the DocuSign website where people could go out and apply for the senior tax freeze and attach their documents. It's very secure. They give you an audit trail. They have electronic signatures. DocuSign is like one of the biggest names in the business for securely signing documents. If you've ever done any kind of real estate transaction, you probably had signed your papers using DocuSign. It is extremely secure. What they would do is when somebody fills out the application and attaches the documents, it basically kind of puts it all into a packet. And we can actually have it to where it, at the end of the day, all of the packets that were submitted for that day can electronically come down to the city's, or to the county's server. It's compatible, Brian said that it's compatible with some of the software that we have on our servers now. So then basically it would just make it easier for people to apply online, and it goes by how many packets. The pricing is by a number of packets. So we were kind of estimating, like, it's really a guess how many people will do it online. But we're kind of estimating 2,000 possibly would fill that out online out of the 4,000 or 5,000 potentially that might apply for the senior tax freeze. So the packet for the 2,000 is $8,424, and we can add more. They call them envelopes, but they're basically the packets of data that come back. We can add more in quantities of 500 if we decide we need to, if we see that we're getting way more than we thought we would get. There's a couple other packets too. There's one for 3,000, there's one for 1,000 as well. But I just think it would save our staff a lot of time. It would save people a lot of time having to come up here to fill out the form if they're having questions that they need help, like finding documentation and things like that.
Just seeing like the other side, how many do we really think is gonna do that though? Because if you're a certain age and older, you're not gonna even understand how this process works or want to do this process. To spend $8,500 seems like it's a lot.
I feel like they're probably gonna maybe even have their kids to help them do things like that too. I would think, I don't know.
Oh, agree.
I think we need an online option though.
One of the things that I haven't really heard discussed was, I heard about the initial wave, but there's gonna be subsequent waves too is it every year?
Yes,
Okay, so you'll have renewals, right?
yes.
But then you'll also have the additional amount. So anyway, logistically, when you start running the numbers and stuff like that, how I feel is that you have to create an avenue that's very efficient way to handle the volume of applications that could possibly come in. So it's not only handling them, but it's handling them securely. So anyway, are you finished?
Go ahead.
Okay, so anyway, so the county already owns this product called Therefore. And so one of the things that was immediately brought up was we need to securely store all of these documents in a very encrypted, secure fashion. So how you do that is you store that within a repository that does those kinds of things. So like I said, the county already owns that. Now, what we'll have to do is add some licenses to it to allow for the additional number of users that are gonna be working in the system. So anyway, when we go through and we look at that, right now the county collector and the county assessor and then the recorder sum and then the clerk use a product called DevNet. Now, the recorder's office doesn't use it as their sole, but you do have access. You don't have access to it. Okay, disregard that part. Okay, so anyway, what we do is we can set up the software, this document management software, to put hooks into DevNet that actually pre-populates those fields where they can search. So for instance, we talked to the collector and he said, well, looking up by parcel number would be a good thing. So like whenever it browses, it actually, you put in a parcel number or last name, first name, it actually pre-populates the fields that people would be keying in by themselves. So that's gonna save a lot of keystrokes. So the idea is that we have, sufficient number of people helping work with this program, but also letting the software try to do as much as we can. So once they get that application and then they pull up that parcel number or that name, you scan in the required documents, and it forces you to fill those things out that are required.
So anyway, so there's a cost to that too, of course, and so I brought that up, right? So I had our vendor work me up some numbers, so right now we have the work group edition, so we need to add 5 concurrent user licenses, and that would be $5,794. We need a capture client, which allows us to do a lot of this automation, and it's $9,330. And then the implementation services, and then the maintenance. So all total, it would be $21,667.04 to land that to get it configured. So anyway, that's the part that I was tasked with, was to help figure out how we can, hit all those marks. So anyway.
So let me ask, therefore is a counterpart to DocuSign?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, the two kind of, well, so like for instance, DocuSign would be the online presence that you're looking for, and then therefore would be where you would store everything.
So we would need both?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're at roughly $30,000
Yeah,
to do both.
yeah, was that what DocuSign?
Yeah, DocuSign is $8,424 for the 2,000 envelope package.
See, I don't think we're gonna get that many doing DocuSign. I do maybe, with the county, I do maybe 6 or 7 a year. I will DocuSign. For $8,000, I would hold off. That's just me. I'm just looking at the cost to implement this.
Well, I'm thinking about the amount of time that staff is going to have to hand enter all of those, scan all those documents, and if, people don't have that option to do it online.
Cheaper than hiring a person.
And I mean, we could go for if you don't think we're gonna have that many, we could go for the 1,000
Yeah,
option.
I would do 1,000. I don't even think you'll.
That one's $5,054.40.
Can it be increased if we reach that
Yes.
1,000?
What would it bring the therefore to
I still
if
think
you're
most
reducing?
The therefore is
They
a
want to
different,
fill that.
a
It's
separate
kinda like
package.
Paying their taxes. They
That's
don't-
not
they
based
don't
on
want
how many
revenue.
online?
They want their receipt.
Because
The
the therefore,
repository.
Get their receipt.
I pay mine online and I get my receipt right away. It's right
and
there.
the therefore is gonna be used for also
That's
the
not gonna-
Hopefully when I'm
stuff
62,
that
I'll be doing the
happens
same thing.
here in the office as well.
Just hit a button and do it online and done. So, I'm fine with your idea of starting with 1,000 if we wanna do
Yeah,
that. I just think this makes sense to do it. It does seem like a lot right now, but over the next however many years that you're able to implement it, fine tune it, I think it's just gonna be worth it.
I think that whenever it comes to the renewals, it's gonna be really fast. Just because you already have the packets and everything stored, I don't know what that renewal application is gonna look like, but, I mean. if you
Neither
have-
do we.
And we may not even need to, I mean, depending on what DevNet does, we may not need as much of this for the renewals after the initial application period, if DevNet creates their own system in DevNet for next year, which they've been
That's
talking
what I'm
about.
thinking. What would you need the following
Just
year? Just a
driver's
signature?
license.
Yeah, so this is just for the year.
Couldn't DevNet just scan your real ID and attach it and you're done for the renewal? Everything's on here, photo ID, signature, birthday, address.
Well, I guess first we have to determine what the renewal process is gonna be, which we haven't done yet.
Mhm. The plus about the DocuSign is it's a very secure system. There's an audit trail. It's just very impressive how secure it is.
Yeah.
And
Real estate people
I
use
emailed it to
other
everybody.
Places use it.
Yeah.
I started out at 1,000 and just see, I don't think we're gonna have 2,000
I'll have to get him to send,
seniors doing that.
I'll have to get them to send another,
So
I
how do you do
did the
DocuSign,
contract.
Sam? 'Cause you do
for
DocuSign.
2,000.
How do you do DocuSign? You do DocuSign.
Jill does it.
I know. They're gonna have their kids come in and
Yeah.
fill it out today. Well, we can either drive into town and go and have to go to the annex and stand in line, or else
People
we
are
can.
gonna wanna come in here, they're gonna wanna,
You'll still have those people, yes.
here,
I don't disagree with that. You're gonna still have the people that wanna come into it.
And there are 62-year-olds that are computer savvy. I mean,
Yeah.
that's gonna be me
Yeah.
next year. I'll be applying probably next year, so, I mean.
I will tell you, there's 74-year-olds who use DocuSign.
Yeah, all
And
of the
Brian will
financial-
tell you, I'm a technology dinosaur, but I can whip right through that DocuSign. And the amount of documents that my office is required to sign on a daily basis saves an incredible amount of time.
And they can do this from their phone even if they want to. I mean, there's,
I can see the
It's
second
compatible.
year, for renewals, I can see them maybe doing more online, once they're,
And the only issue with scanning directly into DevNet is that every one of them's gonna have to come to our office,
thank you, Larry.
our window to do that. And again,
They're paying taxes there. You can't just scan the license at when they pay taxes if they want to sign
you have to go into a whole different system
an
in
iPad.
DevNet to scan a license to the account than you do than taking a payment at the window.
I know it seems complicated. When we switch systems, everything is up front now. They come in, we scan the documents right away, we attach the image to the index. We weren't used to that either, but once we got the hang of it and worked through small glitches, it actually is faster.
I'm just telling you, our windows are set up to take payments, and the payment functions are different than
Sure.
scanning the
Yes.
document to the customer's account.
Yes.
Mhm.
And sometimes there are several documents, you know, on the account. So you're gonna have to go through each one to see which ones. You
Well,
know,
and
if there
then-
was this designated area,
You guys also have, when you start collecting taxes, the lines, and I don't know that you slow that process down any more than it is already, right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
my fear is, again, as I've said before, is we have customers coming in every day, not all day long, but during the busy season, all day long. And not being able to take their payment because somebody else is doing
other.
doing
something
the
else,
senior
yeah.
citizen tax information. And for the most part, you know, I've got 3 people or 2 people working the windows and 1 part-time for half a day. And it, you know, they can stay pretty damn busy.
Plus, we stopped notarizing during tax season. We don't even do that.
Well, we're not gonna have to notarize anyway.
Well, I'm saying, you know, just commoners that come in.
I would envision during the busy tax time, we're taking them down there, that they may have to come up here or to the clerk's office, and during election time, we wouldn't have them going to the clerk's office. I think there'd be different places that we can do that, it wouldn't have to be when you're all busy down there throwing more on you.
How many windows do you have? I got a part-timer that I would loan you temporarily for a certain period of time.
Well, we have 5 windows.
So, and do you have somebody at each one of those during your busy time?
During our busy time, yes.
So you wouldn't have room for,
No,
Well,
I wouldn't allow it.
Well, I mean, why wouldn't you just go across the hall?
I'm fine with that. I don't want to do it anyway. I'm just trying to
I mean, show
help.
me an iPad or something.
During tax season, I would not.
Yeah, because
do
it's so
that,
busy.
An iPad to do what?
Whatever they're coming in to do, you can enter it on that, or you can set something up across the hall or upstairs.
Well,
You could
originally,
end up with so many people in that hall, that'd be it.
and that's kind of what we're trying to
They'll
avoid.
get over.
What we're trying to do
They
is,
move them through that line pretty quick down there collecting the tax money, so.
so
But
like,
then-
we're,
Oh,
Right.
go ahead, Brian.
right now, what we've got, at least is what I've been told, is that it would be a good idea to get 6, basically laptops set up with scanners and things like that, so we can process the people who come in their applications in a quick manner. I'm sitting there trying to figure out, you know, those are very specific steps. So like, for instance, you know, these capture client licenses, what we'll do is Larry has provided like, at least 6 scanners, he's got more, but at least 6 scanners that we already currently own that we're gonna set up against a workstation with a particular configuration. Now, I can move, I mean, you know, I know we're just kinda baking a cake on the fly, but we can move those laptops to specific departments, but I can't take an existing workstation and configure it, you know, like, right now it's configured to do recording stuff or collector stuff, without it being pretty cumbersome. So that's why, we already own the laptops, we already own the scanners. So that's why, Diane Hanslot has been going through getting everything ready for whenever we go live with the application process. So I can plug them into the network anywhere, but I just need to know where. So.
Because if we do it in here, we're gonna be having to, you know, take them in and put it
Yeah.
up.
Which Brent Fisher's really looking forward to that. So, tear them up, take them down.
Well, this room could be, if it's not being used every day, this room could be locked up except for Tuesdays when you have your regularly scheduled commission meetings.
They do some other training sessions and things like that in here, but, meetings and things like that.
Gretchen would be glad to come up and help.
Well, I think a lot of times it could be used. I mean, everyone, during election time, you know, they have voting in here too, and it.
There isn't
Boy,
another.
they really do get lined up.
There isn't another election this year.
No, so that's what I'm saying, so.
That we know of. I envision
But
this.
this could probably be used here. Other times, you know, some things are scheduled, so you almost have to check with Melody to see who, you know, if somebody has this room reserved for, like parks, they meet up, the parks, are they lunch? Or they meet up here at lunch?
Well, I have my bid openings here, or we have like a pre-bid meeting here tomorrow morning, so it's used randomly, but I think as long as you're checked with Melody and get on the
Yeah,
calendar.
so Melody's kind of the keeper of the
And you don't wanna send them
calendar, when
over
this is
to
in
sheriffs,
use.
right? You don't wanna send them
So-
across the street where you could set up a corner and leave it?
Well, I don't know that we could do that over there either.
It locks too.
Well, I know, but
They use that
they
for
use their
training.
training room all the time.
But it's
Why
a
can't you have
bigger
station over
area.
there? You just said you could. But it has to be that configuration, you know.
So I'm not understanding why we have to have 62 different places. If we can have downstairs, okay, when we're collecting taxes, we're gonna move somewhere else.
I'm just giving you options. You have it, I can.
We can't do it at our windows. I don't think they can do it at their windows. I don't think Chris can do it at his windows. I mean, we have enough foot
When you say
traffic.
your window, you mean that's your window today? You mean you got lines down there today, so you could take them today if we started the application today? If we
I'm
had
saying
one
that-
window, one actual window, are you talking about the windows on the computer?
Well, how much is
Open?
one person gonna get done?
I don't know, we haven't done this, so I guess
That's
next
why I
week,
think we-
everybody fill out one of these applications, we'll use everybody's property, pretend you're 62, and we're gonna get in line and process it.
The only thing I'm gonna tell you, Jeff, is I have yet to talk to a collector that hasn't said this is mass confusion when you open this program up.
And we need to be organized.
Well, that's what you
as
have.
to how we're doing it,
I
where
don't
we're doing it.
disagree with that, but it's just, it's gonna be what it is, they're just gonna stand in line for a little while.
I think ideally, the place to do it, whether it's the sheriff's training room or up here, we pick the times and days that we're gonna be open for doing that.
All year long.
No,
Yes.
Well, I would shorten that. You said until June of '26.
And I'm not opposed to doing that, Larry. If we're gonna do it, we'll say, hey, you know, here's when you can apply on Wednesdays and Fridays. from
I think our
6
first,
to 4.
I think our first 3 months are gonna be the busy months.
So, okay, so let's have organized chaos.
And then we figure out where we're gonna go from there.
It's not gonna be 40 hours a week that you can apply, or whatever.
Right.
It's gonna be,
Noon to 4.
if
10
we
to
wanna
2.
do 5 days a week for 2 hours, or pick the days.
I say drive them to the website. I mean, if you have like multiple places that they can apply, it will help.
I'm good with that.
Are they gonna be able to mail in, like snail mail in their applications? I've seen, most of the ones that I've seen allow that. They have their mailing address on there. That was the other question that I think we talked about.
Yeah, I think we'll take them any way we can get
We
them.
didn't do as many. And we could do signage too, it's kinda like when when people are voting, you've got the sign downstairs that says voting. So we can have signs to direct
Nobody
people.
reads.
People don't
Nobody
read that.
reads them.
They
And
don't.
then we send them
No.
upstairs,
I
we
read
send
it.
them to
When
the
it's right there,
assessors.
they don't read
I
it.
bit my nose on so many doors that say pull. Oh, no sign. Yeah, we can put signs up and then they'll still be up at the window, staying in line for a while. I'm here for this, oh, we
Yeah.
didn't read the sign, gotta go upstairs, and then it'll be mad. So we'll send it to the Sam's office.
Oh, you're gonna be the ones that's gonna take care of all the
I will, I
applications.
don't care,
Yeah.
I'll review them all. So if we do that certain days of the week, then is what I hear being proposed.
I'd say.
I'm good with that. I don't know how everybody else feels, but
Yeah, I like it, and certain time.
in certain
period.
times, we just need to work out what that schedule's gonna be.
And you're gonna direct them to the website. We try to do that too. You'll still get a lot of people in-house.
We're just, I don't think any of us are set up for people to stand at our counters and fill this stuff out.
Well, yeah, we could even say like for here, it's Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, because we have commission on Tuesday. And if Melody knows that Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 AM to, I don't know, we want to do it all day or.
We know we have this longer period now,
Then
but-
she can schedule other meetings, like your bid openings for Tuesday afternoon, Thursdays. It would still give some flexibility.
Will they still have to disassemble IT, or will they still need to disassemble and put back up every Monday, Wednesday, Friday? That kind of cuts a lot of time in for them.
Brian?
I don't think the Eastern District Commissioner is very concerned about that.
But, oh my, move our whole damn offices. What, set up my office, we'll just get a line out through the door and down the stairs and start going around. We'll set a card table up and.
We're prepared to set up and tear down as often as you need.
How long does that take?
Well.
2 days.
It literally will take probably less than 30 minutes to get everything set up and tore back down again. So, because we're gonna have it all staged. So we'll have
I
all
think
this.
it'd be easier to just say this is gonna be where you're gonna come. If we can work the schedule out. Because that way we're not sending them downstairs and we're sending them upstairs.
We only do that during tax season.
Yeah.
Go to the
Yeah,
assessor, they look it up, they print it at the collector, they come to our place for a deed, so they're running all over.
If they come to our place,
anyway.
ask where to pay their taxes first.
Yeah.
And
That's
then
how we
we
keep Polk
point.
County healthy.
We can put it in our advertising online that come up to the commission to fill out the application.
Okay, so how many days a week?
Monday, Wednesday.
You could always do it 3 days, and if you don't get as
Wednesday,
much
Thursday.
traffic, then just narrow it down to 2 as the time goes on.
7 AM to 8 AM. I'll do it every morning. 5
Well,
days a week.
we'll send
Be here by
coffee.
yourself.
Hey,
Do you like
that's when
3 days in a row, Larry?
senior citizens
Do you
usually
like
up.
3 days,
I mean, that's
like
when I'm
Wednesday,
waking up
Thursday,
already.
Friday, or do you rather
Might
have Monday, Wednesday,
as
Friday?
well come in and get your tax refund.
I don't really care. I don't prefer Friday.
I was thinking if you did Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, then they don't have to tear it down Tuesday.
Jessica, don't
How
you
often-
do a lot of your
We need
bid
to see
openings
how
on
often this room
Thursdays?
is used, if we can, any particular days you do your bid openings, or it's just,
Usually on Thursdays, and then I know Lily does, new employee orientations too, randomly. But she just have to check the calendar
Yeah.
to see.
You'll probably need that service once this starts, new employee orientation. Just kidding.
so then we have to figure out how we're gonna staff it too, if we have them come up here.
I think
Well,
you guys are already gonna work out.
yeah, our,
Okay.
most all the offices have volunteered
Okay.
to help out, so.
Okay. I would say we use this room, and just, you know, again, as long as it's
We can get air
open,
conditioning there.
as long as it's open for other things that, you know, that you have to do, that Debbie has to do, that Lily has to do. This is still, you've got the door right there, they can,
And we have a much longer period now. We thought we had to have this done by June 30th of 2025. We got a whole nother year, so, you know,
but there's actually one down here.
yeah.
Brian, can you get into Melody's calendar on my calendar?
Nope. And that Melody's password.
Ooh, Melody, what's your password?
Write it down.
Write it down, because we're all being recorded. All of it is?
All the meetings that I know about, unless
Hey,
someone else.
if they don't get a schedule with you, you're the boss there. So tell them.
Yeah.
Tell them, they didn't get okay with Melody.
Melody schedule.
So when we talked to DocuSign, we were still on that, kind of, we were in a hurry to get this done and get it implemented. So this quote is good till 3/31. So if we approve doing the 1,000 instead of the 2,000, I don't have a contract for the 1,000, but if we can approve it, can I bring the contract to you without being in a meeting?
Is that
A
an
commission
annual
meeting?
amount?
Huh?
Is that an annual amount?
Yeah,
That 5,000?
yeah.
What if we just want to do 500? What is like the starting?
I have
number?
no
I mean,
idea.
if-
The starting number was 1,000.
Okay.
I think there's
I mean,
1,000,
500.
there's at least 1,000
I
competent
think
people
so.
in the county.
I think so,
Excluding the commission.
Are you sure?
Excluding present company.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
We actually,
Okay, so,
we have a call with him tomorrow, so I can actually email him and get him to send a new contract for 1,000 envelopes instead of
so you
2,000.
can get pricing for us and get a contract on and you need,
Well, I've got the price for it, that 5,054.40. It's in that packet that I emailed all of you.
saved you something perfect that I remember. Must have transferred over to.
And does
all
the-
file.
Is there a way we can track how many applicants actually use it?
Oh, hell, yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
However many packets we
Maybe.
get.
That'll be the easy part.
Yeah.
And the therefore, is that,
I need a motion to,
I'm waiting for Jeff to make the motion.
that doesn't require a new contract, because we already have that, or?
that's right.
Okay. Jeff so moves that you,
Hey, this is
Hey,
cheating.
Dave,
Hey, so you need a motion to approve.
To
the
approve
DocuSign solution, approving DocuSign solutions.
for 1,000
contract
envelopes.
For 1,000 envelopes.
Yeah, and I will get you a new contract. Jill had approved this one, or told me this was good with her already, so I just need to get one for the 1,000 envelopes for you guys to sign.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to approve the DocuSign solutions for the 1,000 quantity option of envelopes.
I second. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye. Okay, so that'll get us started on that. Then I was trying to look at, oh, you probably need this one. I was trying to look at the calendar, the agenda calendar, but I can't just get to that.
I need, I also need
I need the calendar. How do I get to the agenda?
mine's probably easier.
Should I just wanna say something.
Yes, ma'am.
I told her I already asked.
Yeah, but if we're doing this online, so, and if this is gonna say as recorded in Recorder of Deeds office, the people are gonna think they need to come in and get their deed anyway, so they're gonna be coming in.
Or calling.
And that's probably gonna deter them from filling it out online,
We think.
wouldn't you think? So, can't we, I mean,
Because if
can it
they're
just say
not-
property owner or
Well,
something there?
I think on the main page of the tax-free website, we need to have kind of a list of all the documents they're gonna need and
That you have
where
down
they
here.
can get it, yeah.
And they don't need, oh, so do they need the deed or not?
I don't know, do they
It's
need
not
the deed? I
required
don't know
down
whether-
here, it was
yeah,
removed.
I don't think it's
But I
on
think they're
here.
gonna think they need it, because up front, when they first fill out name and everything, it shows that. I think
Where?
they think they're gonna need it, right
Well,
here.
it says as recorded in the recorder's office.
Oh,
I think it's just gonna confuse them.
yeah, I think maybe that shouldn't be there then.
I think the wording needs to be changed, because in some cases, they won't have adequate proof, and you'll want them to get their deed.
I mean, to me, it
So
would
maybe
be
it shouldn't
what's on
say
there.
as recorded
Yeah.
in the Recorders of Deed office, but it,
Property owner, owners, S in parentheses,
Owner of record.
names, or names.
so you're just not gonna let me win this one.
I know,
No,
I told
we're
her
not.
I've been trying, but
Owner of
I'm defiant.
record.
So-
I don't know. Just
From
as a-
tax
Which
bill?
one are you on?
Would that be from the
Three?
tax bill?
The
Well,
first
sometimes those,
application page.
It's at the very
taken
top.
care of, right?
That works unless it is a POA
Yeah.
or somebody like that.
Does
Then
it
their name
say
isn't on
in
the
care
tax
of or
bill.
something? Oh, okay.
No,
It
that's when
doesn't
they
say
have
that,
the
it doesn't say the
document.
owner's name and like in care of then on the tax bill.
Okay, so which line are you talking about?
That's my question.
At the top where we have
Versus-
owner of record as recorded in the Recorder of Deeds office. And I can see why we don't wanna create the impression that everybody's gotta get their deed. But some may have to. So we just need to change that wording.
I just gotta go look to see how it is on mine. So where do I go on mine? For GIS, they go on collector information link?
Yep.
Maybe it
Type
ought
in
to just
your
say
address
additional
and GIS.
documentation may be required from the Recorder of Deeds
Yeah.
office.
Yes,
Okay, so
How's that work?
I'm filling this out at
I
home.
think they'll be calling us, but I like it better.
I'm filling this out at
If
home.
you're happy, I'm happy.
I'm never happy because I would do this and leave it off.
So-
But
I'm filling this out
I
at home.
understand you're
Okay.
you're needing something.
If you're never happy, then I don't give a damn
So-
if you're
I'm
happy,
filling this out
so.
at home.
Okay,
Whoa!
Jeff's trying to talk, he's getting frustrated.
So I'm filling
I gotta
this-
keep him.
Happy?
I'm filling this out at home. I go onto the GIS site. This shouldn't be that hard to figure out. So where then I mean, when I pull it up, I hit my property.
You should be able to hit that
Owner, name and
collector's
address.
link. Yeah, and,
So is it gonna
yeah.
be different on the bill?
No,
The
the
recorder's
owner's
page.
name and address should be the one from the deed. And then, I don't know.
Surprisingly, it says Jeffrey J. Elshred. So that's just what I write down, owner of record?
That's what,
I don't have to- I mean, is there gonna say something on?
If you were of age,
and your parcel ID number?
Do you?
when's the last time you were
can
told you
also
weren't
type
of
in your
age?
parcel ID, which is on your tax bill, your receipt has
Okay,
that.
so I can go to print my tax bill,
yep.
Mm-hmm,
and it'll give me a parcel number and everything on there, correct?
Mm-hmm.
and that's all you need.
Okay, that was simple.
Right, so it,
For you, that's simple.
No, it is not that simple for me.
Oh,
I really am. I'm technologically challenged too, so that's why I'm asking this, because if we all sit here and try to fill this out, and 7 out of 10 of us have problems with it, we need to change it. But, or we're all gonna be up here in line, and that's gonna tell us we need to have more time to apply here and answer questions. Yeah, there's the legal description, there's the name.
And I've got the link to Midmo on the, app, on the website
So then
too.
what was confusing about as recorded in Recorder of Deeds office, that you think they're gonna have to come and see
That,
what
yes,
it's.
that she thinks they're gonna think they have to go get a copy of their deed.
Yeah.
See that?
Yeah.
See that?
So we're gonna change it, additional documentation may be required as recorded in the Recorder of Deeds office.
That's still basically saying the same.
I thought you liked that.
I mean, why don't you just put can be found on a real estate property tax bill and or receipt as well, because it's there, right?
Right.
Not necessarily on all cases. That's the problem.
So you're gonna have, though, that's the problem, because you are gonna have those problems, and somebody could buy property in June and it's not even over to the assessor, you don't even have a tax bill yet. So there are gonna be, that's your basket of problems, and then we'll have to do more work on those.
That would be your anomalies that come in though.
Pardon me?
Right.
That would be your outliers, the weird
Yes.
ones, which,
Yes,
Problem bucket.
yeah.
the problem children, the Larrys.
We said, he said, go down and see the collector.
So,
Then we
okay.
can look those
I
up.
think you
Those are the
answered my
ones we can
question,
look
and I
up
think
for
that
you.
is possible.
We'll work on that wording.
I think
that's,
right. I
yeah.
think Judy's right.
But the vast
So,
majority.
what
say
if we
that
give
out
them a
loud.
copy of their real estate bill and or receipt and say, you know, this is your parcel number, this
Yes.
is your
A
number of record.
picture,
Yes.
yeah, we could do that.
So-
Perfect. That's perfect.
We could have all the list of different things, and it could have a link
Highlighted
that
it.
says, show me or something, and they could, you click on it and it would pull up a picture of a sample tax bill or whatever and circle that thing, so
Okay,
we can do
Yeah,
that.
that's perfect. That's a great idea.
fine, only took me till. Okay, so, what else we got?
Need a motion.
Okay,
For
so
their
Brian, on this, will this hold all of our applications?
It
then?
will.
This will be, everybody who applies will be on this.
Yes.
And that's, yeah. Hate to spend the money, but it's,
So, I need a motion to approve the purchase of additional therefore licenses and services at a cost of $21,667.04.
So moved.
second. All in favor? Aye. Oh, it's a big one, Elizabeth. Oh, come on.
You're not gonna get to apply, just right. Okay, so we got that, so you're taken care of, you're taken care of, we've got some application stuff taken care of. So do we need to practice filling these out and how we're gonna be reviewed for the process then, at some point?
Do you mean online?
Probably all the above.
Everyone,
on
I
that.
would say so too. Yeah,
How-
we should run through something.
How
to see.
soon will we be able to have a webpage up, I guess would be one of my questions.
Well, the website is up, it's just needs a lot of details that we didn't have originally, but it won't take very long to put it together once I have a idea of what we want, which I think I've got more of an idea now.
Is it active now?
And
Anything?
our county website, yeah, the DocuSign thing, of course,
No, I
won't
mean,
be.
anything on the senior tax freeze, is any of that out there on our county website?
We've got it's not live now.
Okay.
I haven't published, there's a
Gotcha.
draft there. I've got the FAQs on there, I've got the homepage, I've got a link to Midmo and also to your collector tax, search on there. Now I just need to go through and like fine tune the homepage.
And Brian, your therefore stuff, that won't take long to get up and running?
No, we've already got basically a working system, but we just have to go through and add the licensing and then also go through it with their services people to make sure it goes through and does that capture, like what we were talking about. So I can have it done fairly quickly.
And then we need to talk to our staff and Melody and have her mark out the days that, you know, this is gonna be in use, so that we have that on our calendar all the time.
Get to the calendar, the agenda calendar.
And hopefully that'll give us enough time, Jessica, to do
Does she have to share that with me?
our functions.
I think I have a bid openings up until mid-April right now on Thursdays.
On Thursday, so.
But if you do it in the morning or just, I usually start all of them at 3 o'clock. But once this stuff gets rolling, I can always work around and pick a different day. That's not a big
Yeah.
deal. It's just the stuff that's scheduled now, I don't like moving them.
It might be good to like do some days in the morning and some days in the afternoon to give people options.
Right, if they have different work shifts, they can't get, and Public Works does bids also.
Yeah, those are Friday mornings usually, at 9.
So, there's not really that many days that it's busy.
No, but we just need to make sure that it's on the calendar, so they don't schedule Public Works in here when we're having people fill out applications. My office is small, so it's hard to, but
I'm assuming if we were in here 3 days in a row, they wouldn't have to, if we're only open a half a day, they wouldn't have to tear it down.
No, we should be able to leave it set up.
That would probably.
so we
be
can
nice
arrange
thing
our
to do.
times.
Yeah.
As long as we know we're gonna do it here, then we just need to get it on the calendar early enough so that we don't book it with something else.
Well, from that, from Judy's suggestion, it looks like it would be Wednesday, Thursdays, and Fridays would be the 3 days in a row that would prevent from having to tear down. You know, they could set up on Wednesday morning and tear down Friday afternoon.
So your bid openings, Jessica, you could,
I can change them, I just have one scheduled out right now, like mid-April, but I can change.
We probably won't
We
even start
probably- yeah,
before
but I don't
then.
Yeah,
think
so
it'd be-
if I know Thursdays will be taken, then I'll just rearrange them around what you guys have going on.
I would just plan on that going forward after the next one you have, that don't do them on Wednesday, Thursdays, or Fridays.
And what hours, all day?
Well,
Go ahead.
no,
No, I was just gonna say, I'm not sure if anybody can afford to do it all day long.
right.
Staff-wise, that would be difficult, and I don't know, I'd wanna start right at 8 o'clock.
We could do
Right.
10 to 3.
I like that, 10 to 3.
Yeah. We can
Any
always
other
tweak
ideas?
it.
Well, that way
We
if
can always,
somebody's running
we
late,
can always
still
tweak
get 'em out
it,
of
send it
Yeah,
out
it
and
can
see what
always
everybody
be-
says.
Gotta start somewhere, so
Yeah.
10 to 3, Wednesday, Thursday, Fridays.
Will your office be shorter staffed over a lunch hour though, if you have all your employees taking lunches? And if you're gonna be having,
They'll get lunches.
requiring them?
Oh, nice.
That's when the clerk's office comes over and asks.
Well, and I never go to lunch at noon, so I volunteered to do some, I could always do the noon to 1 segment.
Oh, well, unless I need it and you're wrong. Sorry.
Do what you want.
And we,
Okay, so 10
if we
typically, Wednesday, Thursday,
some of our
Friday.
part-time to come in and,
10 to 3.
if Jeannie wants to come in and do some of this. I'll ask her.
Yeah, that's what I,
A
yeah.
grid and
Usually I
start
don't.
signing up for
There's
blocks.
people that
Get a grid and start signing up for blocks of time now
Good idea.
in advance.
And that's to work the public, not to review
That's to work the public.
applications. Okay.
Yeah, so could some of your office come help?
They might be able to.
Okay.
So are you talking about?
And let me ask, what were
When
you
you start
waiting on the
until one for a year?
prosecuting attorney for?
No.
Oh, I was
Not
gonna
at
say
all.
on whether we needed a witness line, I made a request.
We wouldn't be able to do it
but he
from
never.
September on,
Did you want
because of what we have to
Yeah.
do for tax season.
Right.
Well, I don't, I think we.
I'm hoping
did we decide
we
we're
get
not
a-
gonna do it?
Yeah,
Oh,
we
you're not-
decided
We're not
not
gonna
to
do
do
it
the
with
witness
so
now.
So
it's kind of a moot point.
Jill was
fine.
suggesting to do a sign-up grid. That's a good idea, I think, too. So then you know who's supposed to be working or whatever, whoever is posted.
Where we
Or
have
what
what
department.
Yeah, if you don't wanna be up here every day, you can work up here one day or something.
We can set up like a calendar schedule.
Yeah.
We could create a calendar.
Thanks for volunteering to do that.
Actually, every time I say something, I really mean Diane Haslop.
Diane Haslop.
Diane Haslop.
Thanks, Brian.
I promise,
Luckily,
right?
Brian hires all these people, so they don't have to do as much.
That's exactly right. I learned from the best.
As much or anything.
Hey,
You saw where
He's
I
my
wanted him
hero.
to, you saw where I wanted him to video when he
He's
said he
my
was gonna be
hero.
working.
you know, my nickname for him is OGO, which is Oh Great One.
Oh, yeah.
So you don't pick on Brian.
It's the ed department.
Yeah, don't pick on Brian. Come here.
You're just missing in the ER at the end of that.
Okay, so this is digressing into a Brian passion session.
On the frequently asked questions, I don't see anything on there about trusts. Is there any way to put anything on there without making it more confusing on
I
trusts?
thought there was something that
Did
mentioned
I miss
trust. I was thinking there was.
Let's see if you put the name or representative, your trust officer could actually do it, you know, for the San Juan Linda Bush Trust by.
But the problem is if somebody's got a trust, but they don't live there, and they're the ones actually eligible,
Maybe I
there's
don't have it printed out.
the rules to it.
Oh, there it is.
Why you would be honest? There's a lot of trust out there.
Yeah, I don't see it.
I don't either.
I don't either. Question number is it under? Or are you saying we should
No,
add that?
We need to add
No,
some.
I was
or do we
just
need to?
looking for it, because
I
I
thought
know
I'd
that,
seen
that
it
was
too.
the question that was brought up somewhere along the line, and so I was trying to see if that was on there.
Yeah, what if your
Well,
property's
it would
in
be
a trust?
11C is where it would need to be added. Proof of ownership. Again, in that one, we say taxpayers being responsible for said tax additional documents may be requested by the collector. We just need to add some wording in there about
Mhm.
trust. I'll have-
Probably-
Yeah, I
they
think
probably
there's
would
gonna
wanna
be
come see
questions
us if they
about-
don't have that easy available. Because we don't record the trust, but we record documentation stating that it's in a trust. But you're needing to know it's their primary residence. So I guess if they have several pieces in a trust, you need the piece that they're applying for.
Yes.
The homestead.
Yeah, because I was
Simple
wondering,
enough to put in there.
Yeah.
was there a question about if part of their homestead is used for commercial purposes? I know I've seen some of the people's websites, county's websites that have that kind of stipulation about part of it being, I mean, I know.
You all have them split up already, don't you?
We should, yeah.
So we would just cherry pick that portion that is the homestead.
I've seen some counties just say if
The same
part
with
of it's a
farm-
commercial,
same-
then you're
same with
not qualified
agriculture.
or something, but we're not doing that.
Yeah, I'd say if it's commercial, then some of it would have to be residential if you're living there too,
Mhm.
somehow, some way.
Yeah.
So if it's divided out, then we should be able to do that. All right, so when do we want to practice filling these out and testing the system?
I think we gotta get it all put together and then have to let you know.
Well, I mean, we've got the applications, so.
We're gonna fill some out in our office just so we can get trained on DevNet and what their process is.
When are you doing that?
I'll let you know when we get back down to the office.
So the people that are gonna be up here working, do they need training on DevNet?
No.
Or are they just doing application?
They're just doing applications.
Okay.
At least that's the plan right now. I haven't seen what all's involved in it yet, so.
Okay.
But as far as I know, it's just on the collector's billing and collection side, so. Now, Brian did check with them. We can put the tax inquiry side on every one of these laptops that we're gonna have up here. If help is needed in looking up parcel numbers or anything like that.
GIS too, yeah, okay.
We'll put shortcuts to whatever you think you might need to help the process.
Well, and on the website too, can we do it where like you have a save and exit feature? So like if you get stumped at the
Yeah.
third step, it saves everything you've done
I
already?
think
and then you can
DocuSign
get back
does
in?
that. I think DocuSign said that they had that already built into that form.
So that way we can say, okay, your next step is, and you need
Yeah.
A, B, and C, and then you come back and we'll finish this.
That's
Or we
certainly-
can log back in.
Yeah, that's a great idea, because I can't tell you the number of times I've had to
Oh,
start
yeah.
all over again.
And that'll just add to the frustration. If we could get them back into it where they were. the drop-off.
But you guys won't be doing the online thing here with people here, will you?
I mean, they could,
Yeah.
I mean.
I thought that's why you were
I
gonna
mean-
have laptops set up here.
No, so the process is that the person comes in and, you know, this is for the public that's gonna actually show up here. And then, they're gonna go through and you can manually add it to the document management system. You know, go through and help them fill it out and stuff like that, or, you know, I would think it would be the long way around going through the website and back down where you can just do it directly here. So I mean, there's no wrong in it, you know what I mean? I mean, how you wanna do it, so.
I mean, that person would have to actually use the computer to electronically sign that document, though. They can't, like, you can't
Right.
click sign and put the electronic signature in there.
We probably don't want to
So
do
if we fill out,
Yeah.
so we fill out a handwritten application here,
And you sign it,
and then we scan it in.
yeah.
And it scans into DocuSign,
No.
into Therefore?
Yeah.
Just as if we imported a online
Yes.
completed application.
That's right.
Yeah, that's how that would work.
And it has the capability of recognizing parcel numbers and,
Well, the idea is that it's gonna pre-populate those parcel numbers based upon the lookup.
okay.
Yeah, right? So like, we did that.
Okay.
Yeah, we did we had a demo of it, and as long as we get the hooks built into DevNet, which I don't think that'll be a problem, then it'll basically say, if that person knows their parcel number or brings the documentation, you type in that parcel number, it pre-populates the fields that are mandatory. So you don't have to.
Name and address and.
Yes, and it populates them based upon what's in DevNet, which is ideal.
Then are we gonna have like a box or a container or something for their paper application? I mean, we're so used to, after we vote, feeding it into the machine.
You mean a place to actually, are you gonna store the physical documents? I mean, that's a good question.
Well, we need to keep, I mean, you're gonna have
Yeah.
So we need to do something with them, and it might be,
I think we have file cabinet space in our office, don't we, some of those lateral file cabinets?
Why don't you just give them their paper copy back if you scanned it?
I mean, do you have to get it?
Well,
Yeah,
that's what I was
so, yeah.
thinking, once you scan
If
it.
you've scanned it, then why do you need to keep the paper copy?
That's what I said.
Man, this is the 90s, let's go paperless.
well, I'm just figuring, you know, people are gonna, you know, it's, we don't wanna just say, oh yeah, it's here, you're done. They're gonna say, what are you gonna do with that?
We're not gonna let people like you come in and bully us, Sam.
You just, I mean, if you
I'm
literally.
gonna file by guy, I qualify.
So just to be clear, this room is gonna be used to meet the public and to help them manually fill out the form.
Yes.
Okay.
So they can they just go to a window and hand it in if it's already filled out?
Yep, I would
Is that
think
gonna be
so.
here too then, or?
There's a Dropbox, gonna be a Dropbox downstairs, and then I assume they can go,
They can drop in our front slot on the front of the building.
You might need one up here too. I'd put at least 2 places.
We probably can get, this time of year, we can probably borrow Chris, we can use one of your assessment boxes. People can drop them in that.
Then have 3, because if they're already up here.
Yeah, we might as well drop it off.
I'm thinking if they're already up here, just not scan it, but if we're not
Shred.
open and they come in on Monday or something, then they can at least leave it here.
Well, the assessor's office puts the assessment drop box out in our hallway, outside Judy's back door, during November, December, and January, and February. And it's got a lock on it, so people drop their stuff in there, and it's semi-secure.
Is it a full width slot, or is it small for the envelope?
It's an envelope slot.
It's big enough for full documents with.
well, we
Yes.
probably need to note, it needs to be in an envelope. I would assume people would do that, but.
And we can, hey, we can have some, we can have some envelopes printed up that say senior tax freeze up here by it, so they can fold their thing up, put it in that envelope and stick it in the box.
Envelope with.
Just spending our money just right and left.
Oh, we're just gonna get almost, I'm gonna get a marker.
Jeff's
I'm
gonna
gonna
stamp.
save you
I'll
some
buy the
money.
envelopes.
Jeff will stamp them. I know.
Okay, what else we need to do today? Same time, same place next Tuesday, till we get this done?
Sure.
Do we want to fill out some applications that we have and bring them in and see if somebody runs into problems? Or if we can look it up and see if there are problems or anything, or we want to run any kind of test? Maybe not yet.
Oh, let's play that by ear and see how far along they get on.
I doubt that I have that done by next Tuesday. So,
Brian,
I mean.
you are an
I know you like-
American, not an American.
I know you like
We do
Rumpelstiltskin straw, make gold out of straw, but.
Just want a beanstalk.
You look like you could use to miss a couple meals, so.
Back.
Oh, man. That was
I'm gonna
mean.
make a motion to adjourn.
You have hit a new low. You have hit a new low.
Yes.
Poor Brian.
Guys, thank you all, everybody. If we got anything else, let's plan on Tuesday, whatever we can. If it only takes 10 minutes and that's all we got that we can finalize, whatever, then let's keep it rolling. Does that work?
2 o'clock?
So, they're 2 o'clock this time and place, everything work good?
Okay.
Okay.
I make a motion, we stand in recess until 4.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
I hope he doesn't need your help.
Right.
Thank you all.